All right, so you know how we go through different stages, as we're going into this little awakening that we do. We go through the curiosity phase, we go through, conspiracy theories, we go through changing our diets, we go through different things, okay? Different things that where especially the diet part, we think we're gonna make some significant advances into our spirituality, and it does make a huge difference. In the beginning, you have to understand that you have to unlearn what you've learned all your life, and then you have to kind of self-educate yourself, keeping an open mind, not having any belief systems around what you hear. Rather just extract what you need, and then you kind of let things go that are not serving you, okay? Because everything always comes with baggage, and then that's just how it is over here. One thing about the diet part, the significance of changing the diet when you're coming into this little journey of yours, is because it's basically you're gonna let go of a lot of the garbage that's in you. You're gonna change a lot from the inside out. When you clean yourself out and your mentality starts to change, and you get to certain levels where you start to know that the mind is pretty much everything, you'll start to realize that what you put in your body is actually it's the same as everything else, just a tool, okay? In the same way, you would use certain tools to kind of get you further. You get what I'm saying? And there's certain things where what you're putting in, you're not looking at it as you're just putting food in. You're putting something in return for something else, okay? That's what you feed your vessel for. Here's the thing. A lot of the stuff that we receive could be deceiving you anyway, okay? If you look at your body is doing everything on its own, but it's also ensuring its survival at all costs, okay? So the same way you have fear, because a lot of people say, get rid of the fear. You don't need to get rid of anything, okay? What you need to do is get to understand and know what it is that you're feeling, or what it is that you're experiencing, so that this way it's not you running away from yourself at all times, because it doesn't matter what it is right now. We talk about fear is an energy. It's an energy that if you use wisely, it can actually ensure that you'll be okay in your now moment, because it'll put you in your most present state. I've used the example before as to when you're drinking and then you're driving, you'll notice that just the fear of getting pulled over, which also you have to make sure that you're super balanced on that too, because what you fear, you empower the most. So it's not basically, taking the fear and feeding energy into a fear that you have, thinking that you're doing something good. No, it's basically, or favorable rather, it's basically doing something where you're using the fear, but you're not empowering the emotion as to why the fear is even there. It's getting to know why that sensor is lit up, okay? When you know why that sensor is lit up, you can start to use that to your advantage, because you could transmute any kind of emotion that you have, okay? Whether it be rage, anger, hate, fear, whatever, all these lower emotions, you could transmute them. They're very strong emotions, actually. And with that strength, you can actually, transmute them to something favorable and channel it to whatever it is that you want to do. But that takes a lot of strong focus. Now, the focus is going to be strengthened through meditation. The meditation, for example, is basically where you're... this is where you're going to the gym for your mind, for you're strengthening your mental focus muscle, okay? You want to imagine things. Sometimes when you're using your imagination, you notice that it's hard to actually maintain that imagination, because sometimes other things just tend to come in, and then you start to ride different waves and you start to entertain certain different things. The meditation part is going to strengthen that focus. The focus part is very important. When it comes to doing anything, even anything in this third realm, anything that you're doing requires a certain type of focus and attention. Right now, this is where you keep that strength on that focus muscle by strengthening through meditation. There's different types of meditation. So the one meditation that I can tell you I've done that has actually changed the game for me is imagining that I become invisible. where I'm only just the breath, okay? And I'll tell you how I did this. Try this, and this is going to work out beautifully. I use magnets, by the way, okay? You can put your magnet on your forehead, okay? Right by your first eye. And you put another one. My magnets are actually really strong. They're not the cheap magnets. They're not the little magnets you would put on the refrigerator. These are actually strong magnets. Put one on your heart, and then put one on your by your navel area. That's what I did. And then I make orgonite, of course. So I held one orgonite in my hand, and I'm just using my imagination as to how all this works, because there's metal scraps in the orgonite, there's quartz crystal, there's copper, and you know, I use all these things to my advantage. The magnets creates that vortex for me. Okay, use your imagination. Now, when I am in this meditation, I'm taking a breath in, okay, and then I'm doing the breath through the nose, and then I'm releasing it through the mouth. But one thing I want you to use your imagination very, very carefully on is this. When you take your breath in, right? Watch my previous video, my last two videos, where I talked about, I forgot what I titled them. It's my very two last videos. I talk about how everything is basically, you know, everything's connected, right? Everything looks separate out here, but everything is really connected. Now, you don't know how the inside of your body is ever going to look, okay? You have organs, heart, you have the heart, the kidneys, the liver, the pancreas, you have the heart, I mean, the lungs, you have everything that you could possibly, when you dissect your body, but it is only you, okay, believe that this is what's inside of you based on a dissection of a body outside of you, okay? But you will never see these organs for yourself to know that that's what it really looks like, right? Now, everything outside of you is a mirror image of you, right? But we talk about the mirror image is not always exact, okay? But one thing I can tell you is this. I work on my invisibility through my meditation. And the way I do this is this. You know, when you stay completely still, but this takes focus as well. When you stay completely still, this is how I started first. Stay as still as possible, and your body's going to eventually go numb. There's going to be certain tensions that you may have in certain areas. Those are the areas that you want to address, but you address it again with your imagination. Put your focus onto that area. Use colors in your imagination with like the golden ball of light, and put it on the, like sometimes when I'm laying down, or if I'm sitting in a lotus position, I like to lay down. I don't really like to do the lotus position too much. But when I lay down, I'll notice there's certain tensions in certain areas, and I'll put that imagination where I'm moving that golden light to that specific area. I'm moving it all over my body, and believe it or not, wherever I move it to, you'll start to feel energy in that area. But when I put it in the spot that it is actually tensed on, make sure you keep your focus muscle strong so that you can focus on that area with that golden light. Believe it or not, you'll know why there's tension in that area by emotions that come up. Okay? This is how you start to work with certain things within you that you have no understanding as to why you feel a certain way through the day, and why you feel a certain way, you know, even while you sleep, or why you can't sleep, or whatnot. Okay? Now, I'll make separate videos with energy as far as, you know, certain sections of the body that I have discovered as I was doing my meditations. I haven't looked this one way up at all. This is just something that I've been experimenting on myself, and it's worked beautifully. But now I'll get to the part with the invisibility. How to make yourself invisible is like this. When you're laying there, okay, and you address the tense parts of your body with that golden light, that will, and when you get to know what it is, because emotions will come up, and it doesn't have to happen on the first try. You can work on it. But the moment that you feel that you recognize why you have tension in certain areas, it could be even your gut. Sometimes I feel it in my solar plexus. Sometimes I'll feel like it's just tensed up, and then I'm aware of it. I'll loosen it up. But then when I don't pay attention to it again, it'll tense up again. This is why it's important to address the tense parts of your area, not just, you know, be aware of it and I'm like, okay, no, I got to loosen it up. No, it's not that. You have to really focus on that area and find out why it was tense to begin with. Okay? So, you know, I feel sometimes even my hands are clenched up. And it, believe it or not, anywhere, it doesn't matter. There's certain emotions. Your eyebrows, you may tense up your eyebrows while you're meditating. You never know. You may have a lot of tension, okay? But emotions come up. I'm not going to tell you what mine are specifically. You'll get to know your own things, because if I tell you what mine are, then you'll think that that's what yours are when you're doing it, and then you may have something come up and it'll just be a memory of what I told you. So I'd rather you just figure out what it is that you have going on. But I figured out why my hands were clenched up, why my fingers tensed up in certain areas, why my solar plexus was tensed up, why my eyebrows might have tensed up, why sometimes even this, like, but then I loosen it up. Sometimes I'll notice that even when I'm not, and I just relax my jaw so much that I'm like, I'll breathe in through my mouth. And I'll just keep my jaw like that. I'll keep it slightly open. There's different techniques, okay? This is just something that I have done and it works for me. So basically, when you address these certain areas, all right, it does wonders. Focus on everything being as still as possible. This is where the focus is going to be most important, is making sure that you can focus on your body being as still as possible. Eventually you're not going to feel your body anymore. Your brainwave states are going to start to change based on how you start to see certain energy patterns in your eyes are closed, but I'm saying you're going to start to see different energy patterns. Another thing that you're going to notice is that once you start to feel like that your body's numb, focus on your breath also. Here's the key and the secret that I use. As you're bringing your breath in and you're exhaling your breath, feel it as if you were hollow inside. Okay? You know how a lot of people they just breathe, but they just focus on the specific breath. Focus on your breath, but in a way where you're because this is actually going to help you bring the air even deeper into your belly, rather than doing shallow breathing or breathing from the chest area. But breathe in, counting backwards, of course. But as you do that, picture the air going into a hollow vessel, like there's nothing inside of you. Okay, everything is completely empty, and you're just bringing in golden light. Okay, and then you breathe out black, negative, I don't even want to say negative, because I just rather just say unfavorable energy or emotions that are not serving you. So once you get to address what it is that you feel in those tense areas, you're going to exhale it out in the form of a whatever color you don't like, let it out of your breath through your mouth. And then you're going to feel amazingly light afterwards. And this is the key, because you made yourself invisible. You don't feel your body on the outside. Now you've been focusing on your breath going in, feeling like you're going into it, like the air is going into a hollow vessel. You're going to feel hollow. Feel the out breath. That's what you want to feel. The out breath is where you're going to start to feel like everything is just hollow, because everything's really coming out and using your imagination. As you do that, there's nothing inside of you. You're just hollow. Eventually, the fact that your body's numb and you have your imagination focused on the fact that there's nothing inside of you, okay? Nothing. You'll feel invisible. You just feel like you're just the breath. It's about the most trippiest feeling in the world, but it's amazing. All right? Talk about activating that natural chemicals in your body that we all try to achieve through drugs. This is a very good technique to try, okay? And believe it or not, a lot of stuff is going to come up. A lot of stuff is going to come up. The more you do this, the more relaxed you feel, okay? You're addressing different tense, unfavorable areas in your body, okay? But you're doing this with your imagination. And this is why meditation is important, because, see, the monkey mind is going to keep working, but this is why the more you meditate, the stronger it becomes, where you become resistant to those things, where it's not like you're, resisting it or anything like that. The moment that these things come in, you see, I talked about the observer, and I talked about the spectator, okay? You're really not trying to be a spectator because your eyes are closed, but you're trying to be an observer, or even a watcher. You know what I'm saying? A watcher. Watch what's going on. Like, you're just watching the fireworks. You're watching the light show happening. You're watching the feeling of you just disappearing and becoming just the breath. Okay? Believe it or not, the moment that you start to feel that, and then you start to even try to tie in this third realm into the moment that you're at when you're doing that, none of this shit, you almost forget that you even have all this. Okay? Now, that bliss, that euphoria, it's not something you want to also polarize to. Okay? Keep in mind that because you feel bliss and euphoria doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way to be. Okay? You want to be neutral. And then you want to use the bliss and euphoria to your advantage the same way you would use fear, hate, and anger and rage to your advantage. You don't let it consume you, because that bliss, that euphoria, all that is just basically, it could become addictive as well. The same way that lower emotions here, such as addictive natures, even to porn, which is, to tell you the truth, man, everything is a tool. And if we were educated as younglings, all right, the right way, all right, we would learn to use these tools to our advantage. You come here with certain urges, certain things that you can use, okay, even certain hungers, certain desires, certain things. It's not to suppress yourself. It's basically to understand how this shit works so that you can start to use these things to your advantage. All right, these things are working for me. They're working very, very well. See, there's people who say, I see certain changes in you. I don't even ask if it's good changes or bad changes. It really doesn't matter what the changes is. See, the thing is, there's changes because there's evolution. There's people who actually said, oh, you put up a Christmas tree now, you didn't put it up last year. Because, listen, we go through different stages in life, okay? I'll make the next video on that, because that'll be a pretty interesting talk. I just wanted to make this one on the meditation. So we'll talk soon.